how much SAF do you need, and where are you going to get it from?
Well, the first thing is, where do you get it from? That's how you get to what do you need. And that's the challenge here. We're using municipal solid waste as an example, cooking oils, woody biomass. We need to find feedstock that can be used to create sustainable aviation fuel. And that's going to require a large investments across a lot of feedstock. There's not a single silver bullet that's going to work here, because each one of those things is going to have to be a component to build up to something that's meaningful.
Agriculture that's grown, you just can't find the land space sufficient. There's not enough cooking oil and palm oil and waste oil.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but I'm saying, how realistic is it, bearing in mind the numbers? I'm overawed by the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers are big, and absent a breakthrough with something like algae, which it's really expensive, but today, but absent a breakthrough on something like that, we're not going to get all the way there with sustainable aviation fuel. That's why this industry's ability to decarbonize is not just about sustainable aviation fuel. It's a pillar, but another pillar, I think, needs to be carbon sequestration. And we got to look at everything. There's going to be a role for electric and hydrogen in some portions of the aviation industry, small airplanes flying short distances. But the reality is, we're going to fly big airplanes long distances, and we're going to need jet fuel to do that.
And do you see, you're putting a lot of money into SAF.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot of money into investment.
We are.
You believe it. It's a crucial part of your policy with United.
Yeah. And look, we think that this is part of building and creating the industry. And the analogy I like to use is wind and solar. 20 years ago, just 20 years ago, when you talked about wind and solar replacing a coal-powered plant, people said it's impossible because wind and solar are so much more expensive. Today, it's cheaper almost everywhere in the world to use wind and solar, but that's because there was investment and government support. A critical area here is we need government support to help drive down the cost curve, and then it can become self-sustaining.
Are you feeling a bit on your own, left out in that? Do you feel that the necessary subsidies, I know some were in the latest package, but do you feel there needs to be more government assistance to encourage you to do what this?
There absolutely needs to be government support and assistance, and the latest legislation here in the United States does have that in it. But it's critical to do it, just like they supported the wind and solar industries. It is critical to drive investment and give people confidence. These are big investments, 20-year investments, confidence that they're going to be able to get their money back out of it.
CEOs like yourself, all in favor of it, policies in place, and then you privately say, but my goodness, the cost of SAF, the actual cost of the fuel is high. Customers won't pay. It'll cost more on the ticket. Is that a reality that the passenger needs to come to terms with?
I don't say that as much as the others do, because what they're looking at is the cost today. And I believe that we can drive the cost down by investing and figuring out how to commercialize the technology. The technology to create SAF is not complicated. We know how to do that. What we need to do is the investment, much like happened with wind and solar, to drive down the cost curve, to build economies of scale so that the cost comes down. I think we can do that. So I'm not as stressed about the cost of what is going to be in the future, because I believe with investment we can drive down the cost curve.
You told me recently you were further on the outside.
Yeah. I'm a little extreme compared to some of the other airlines.
You are. Do some of your colleagues, some of your board members say, "Oh, easy, Scott, don't scare the horses."
Yeah.
Did some people tell you to?
Well, they've been pretty good here at AIDA, but I have had. There are some who think that what we are advocating for at United is too much, and that it's not fair that we should be responsible for all this. And my view is there's no bigger challenge, there's no bigger problem for us to solve as a society, and I want to be a part of the solution. But whether I wanted to or not, it also doesn't matter whether it's fair or not. We have to do this.